So we're up to questions 51 to 60 in Ian Shop's toilet roll of time. He's trotting through the Eocene into the Miocene and even more recently into the Messinian. So have a look at these questions and we'll be posting the answers tomorrow.
Okay, I've said okay again. So these rocks come from Greece, and actually they look like really old rocks, but these are also Eocene, 50 million years ago, and you can see they're quite blue coloured. Particularly this one's quite blue, green, and we see these pinks again in it. So these have been down into the earth about 60 kilometres down, heated up and come all the way back up again. So the clue's the colour, blue, and they look a bit schisty. So what do you think those rocks are, and how do you think they could form? So we've now come out of the Eocene into a time period called the Miocene. That's about 25 million years ago to about 5 million years ago. So we've really come a long way forward in time now. These samples all come from Sinai, again, in Egypt. And you can see, look at these guys. If I pick that up, what do you think that looks like? You can see all of this fabric along here. You can see things that look like knots in a tree, actually, on that one. And if we pick up, have a look at these guys. And these, you can see they're kind of circular. And on the side of them, you can see they've even got sort of needles sticking out of them. They're all preserved in silica. I think these two are the same, really. You can see, again, a nice lot of knot looking in there, and all these needles on this one. So what do you think those could be? They're from the Miocene, about 23 million years ago, these things. Okay, so we don't always actually find the fossil itself. Sometimes we find the trace of where the fossil has been, and these are good examples from the Miocene of those, again from Egypt. So look at these things. You can see these sort of tracks going through here. These are made of sand, and they're full of little shells actually inside these tubes. There's one there that looks a bit like a Y shape, and it's full of all these broken bits of shell debris. So what could they be? And just whilst we're here, there's another example here. You can see this is sand and silt, and you can see something's been resting in the sand and silt. Right, those little patterns. So what could they be? So this is a really nice preserved fossil, again from Sinai in the Miocene, and you can see, look at these little beautiful star shape patterns in here. You can see things coming up on the side and eating into it, something eating into this fossil. You can see these two little guys here. That's something called lithophaga. Litho means rock, and phaga means eat or teeth or something like that. So rock eater would how that translate. So what do you think that is, all these little star-shaped patterns? So this really nice little fossil comes from the Yemen, actually, down by the side of the Red Sea. And you can see a beautiful sort of star shape in that, and these you'd still find present day. Okay, so you can see the flower shape there, and on the bottom it's got these lots of little holes. So what do you think that could be? I think it's probably quite easy to guess what that's related to. Wow, I think everyone can recognise that these are teeth. This one comes from West Africa, this one comes from Sinai in Egypt. You can see really nice where the teeth joined in. You can actually feel it's still quite, it's really sharp still here. This one's bitten something quite hard. It's broken its tooth through there. So this one is called, well, it's called a megalodont. So what do you think megalodont could be or mean? And what animal do you think these teeth are coming from? You really wouldn't want to meet that guy. They have very big teeth. Right, I mentioned that 5 million years ago all of the Mediterranean dried out, and it would have been possible to walk from Europe to Africa across the Mediterranean, no sea. And these rocks formed at about that time period. These are really similar to the very first fossil that we saw right back at the Cambrian, Precambrian. In fact, they're the same fossil, same type of fossil. But here they are, still living 5 million years ago. So what are they? What could those guys be? So this is from the same time, and it's called the Messinian, when the Mediterranean dried out. And you can see this isn't a fossil, it's a crystal. And you can see this really nice sort of, looks a bit like an ice crystal. You can see it growing in one direction. I think this came from, it was Sicily or Cyprus, as I remember. So that was when the seawater completely dried out and you got these amazing crystals forming. You can see that shining in the sun really nicely. So what do you think that could be? So we've actually now come out of the millions and we're into the 100,000s. So these are all examples from a few 100,000 years ago. Kira's holding this one that looks a little bit like a brain. Is it heavy or light, that?
Medium.
Medium, yeah. So what do we think that is? And let's turn it over and have a look on the bottom of it.
Ow, spiky.
This one comes from Egypt, actually, the Red Sea.
Spiky.
And you can see it's a bit hollow in the bottom in there. You can see this sort of radial pattern coming off the side. So what do you think that is? Okay, Kira's picking up some other samples. You can pick up two because they're quite light, aren't they? So this, I think, a lot of people will recognise what this is. Look at this beautiful pattern in here. So this is about 200,000 years old. But you still find these guys living today in the Great Barrier Reef or the Caribbean. Let me come over to this one. There's another one. You can see it's kind of a branching. If you just hold that up straight, Kira. Yeah, you can see it's kind of growing upwards and full of all of these little nice tiny holes in there. So what do you think these guys could be? They're beautiful areas to go and visit modern day. You can swim around in them and look at all the sea life around them.